Welcome. I am N.S. Lavanya, Assistant Professor, Department of English, KC's Kasinadar College of Arts and Science. In this video, I am going to teach you what is formal equivalence in Introduction to Translation Studies. Equivalence. The terms dynamic equivalence and formal equivalence are coined by Eugene Nida. They are associated with dissimilar translation approaches. They are employed to achieve different levels of literalness between the source text and the target text as evidenced in biblical translation. Dynamic equivalence is meant as sense for sense translation, that is, translating the meanings of phrases or whole sentences with readability in mind, whereas formal equivalence is meant to be word-for-word translation, that is, translating the meanings of words and phrases in a more literal way. The formal equivalence method is also known as literal translation. It attempts to translate the source text word for word into another language. Formal equivalence tends to emphasize fidelity to the lexical details and grammatical structure of the original language. For example, a phrase such as holy kiss in a gloss translation would be rendered literally and would probably be supplemented with a footnote explaining that this was a customary method of greeting in New Testament times. This is the definition of formal equivalence. Let's have a clear understanding about the term in further slides. It is often called as thought-for-thought translation as opposed to a word-for-word translation. A translation method in which the translator attempts to reflect to the thought rather than words or forms. Nida suggests not the reaction or just function in the target language or just function in the target language or target culture, but property of the text. Features of the form of the source text have been mechanically reproduced in the receptor language. It often aims at goal rather than reality because one language may contain a word for a concept which has no direct equivalent in another language. A word order, grammar, should be considered in using this. Formal equivalence can allow readers familiar with the source language to analyze how meaning was expressed in the original text. It preserves untranslatable idioms, rhetorical devices and diction in order to preserve original information and highlight finer shades of meaning. It focuses attention on the message itself in both form and content. In such a translation, one is concerned with such correspondences as poetry to poetry, sentence to sentence, and concept to concept. The message in the receptor language should match as closely as possible the different elements in the source language. This means, for example, that the message in the receptor culture is constantly compared with the message in the source culture to determine standards of accuracy and correctness. The type of translation which most completely typifies this structural equivalence might be called a gloss translation. The translator attempts to reproduce as literally and meaningfully as possible the form and content of the original. Such a translation would require numerous footnotes in order to make the text fully comprehensible. It is designed to permit the reader to identify himself as fully as possible with a person in the source language context. It helps us to understand as much as he can of the customs, manner of thought, and means of expression. I hope you understood the exact meaning of formal equivalence. Now, we'll see the Nida's approach to equivalence. In Toward a Science of Translating, Eugene Albert Nida regards the identity of the receiver's reaction and not the identity of the relevant markers of a situation. Formal equivalence arises if the translator gives preference to the SL text reflecting both its contents and form as truly as possible and including grammatical units, the use of words, the sense of terms. To achieve the most faithful translation of grammatical units, the translator will translate a noun into a noun and verb into a verb. Does not change sentence boundaries, does not change paragraphs or the punctuation. Now we look at the Nida's second approach. For example, Plato's dialogues can be translated only in this way, that is, in formal equivalence, in order for the reader to understand the essence of Plato's philosophical system and follow the evolution of his terminology. Formal equivalence is to be achieved if a translation is made for linguists who want to contrast the corresponding units of two languages. Therefore, formal equivalence is not something to be rejected but a valuable type of translation of certain text for a given circle of receivers. So, Nida's approach is considerable. Let's look at the benefits. When trying for formal equivalence, a high degree of clarity or readability is gained. It appeals to a wider range of audience. It focuses on the meaning, statement, thought. It presupposes verbal, plenary inspiration. It places importance upon knowing the scripture as it was originally stated. Promotes access to the structure and meaning of the scripture in the original languages. It provides opportunities for in-depth inductive Bible study. It promotes word-for-word correspondence to the extent that the English has an exact equivalent for each word and that the grammatical linguistic structure can be reproduced in understandable English. It proclaims senses singular, more objective, provides boundaries for interpreting and validating the scripture within the framework of the author. So, these are the benefits of using formal equivalence. Let's have a look at the disadvantages of using formal equivalence. It is not transparently dependent on original language. It has a tendency to promote multiple meanings. Less objectivity, more interpretative, license recording original language. Difficult to verify accuracy and usefulness for in-depth study. An exact equivalent for each and every word cannot actually be reproduced. The pattern or structure of the original language in every respect cannot be reproduced in an understandable language. It could result in awkward statements and thus lead to potential misunderstandings of the author or author's intended meaning. Thus we come to the end. Thanks for watching. We meet again in the next video.